Everyone coming today. Glad to see you guys. It's a little bit early today, but you guys made it. This video, this lecture is actually recorded, but I couldn't hear the sound from the Zoom call, which I don't know why. So, but you guys can type me questions if you have any questions. This workshop is about analyzing social media data for social science studies. I'm a postdoc scholar from Health Policy Department working with Sherry Rose. Sherry Rose is a statistician. So before we go to the lecture, I would like to introduce myself a little bit about my background. Oh, actually, I can just put this. So right now, my research focus is basically on machine learning and fairness in healthcare. As you know, there were many algorithms have been used in all sorts of systems. One of the field that is heavily used is in healthcare system. And these algorithms very often are biased against some minority groups. So we're trying to develop method approach to try to balance the prediction result and so that it's not biased against these minority groups. So in the past, I was a PhD student in University of Edinburgh School of Informatics. And so my research field is computational social science. So what I did was use social media data to try to infer people's mental health status and to see whether they have depressive symptoms, whether they have like suicidal ideations. And before I went to University of Edinburgh, I studied applied psychology and linguistics in Hong Kong. So that's why it came to my mind that over the years, many people have asked me, oh, like you're doing computational in social science, it's kind of cool. Like, how did you learn programming? How did you learn the machine learning maths? So it's a long process, and I think it would be interesting to introduce my approach to people because it seems like a lot of people are interested. So about this is my past experience. So I would like to say it's not as difficult as you think, but it's a process. You just need to take it slow. And at the beginning, for example, yes, you have to take it slow. So for social science people, maybe like the math part might be like a bit more difficult. And also the computer science part, people are usually, oh yeah, I don't want to do so much math. And it's difficult for me to understand the concept. So I start with some books that are that are not like textbook. It's for people who don't have much background for maths or like statistics to learn statistics. So one of this book is called Statistics for Terrified Biologists. So it explains statistics in like a story approach. It's not like you will see a lot of functions because that will be terrifying. So you can start with a book like this. Another book is like the Grokking Algorithms. So it explains many common algorithms used in the computer science field. So at the beginning, I usually start with books like this to help me to begin my learning process. So feel free to ask me any questions if you want to know more things about how I learn. So I would like to also see some group chat. Some chats. If you have any questions, you can send me a question in the chat. So some tips for learning how to code. I would suggest everyone to work on an actual project that requires some kind of programming because this is how you learn to code. If you just there were like many videos online to teach programming. I don't think people would like to see a person program for like an hour. You don't learn much and it's very boring. And when I was in computer science department, like I tutor students, and at the beginning my programming skill wasn't that good as well, because when I was doing my psychology degree, I started to self-taught programming in R. That's how I did my first project. use some like elementary level of machine learning and I self-taught, but then it's still like quite far away to like being skillful in programming. So I learned most of my skills when I was doing my computer science degree in Edinburgh, but it's also like it's basically a long journey of self-taught and with the help of my colleagues. So what I found is helpful is when I work on a project, I try to solve a problem, or if I need to finish a class, I try to solve a problem. If I manage to find tutors or colleagues who can work on the part that I couldn't solve it, like debug the problem for with me together, and that would be the most helpful way to learn how to program. So that is the purpose of this kind of workshop. And ideally, you can sit in this room and I can help you to debug the problem together when you have troubles solving a problem. So, and also the problem has to be like something that you're interested in most of the time, like, because programming, it's like there are a lot of things that you can program, but a lot of things that you won't use them. So if we learn things that we don't use it at all, you would just forget about it. So what would be useful would be like you have like an actual problem that you want to solve, and then you try to solve it and you ask people questions. But for like the purpose of this kind of tutorial, like of course I can't tailor the learning material for everyone, because every one of you will probably want to learn a different programming problem, but I can't tailor make for everyone. So I would start with like something really basic. And once you get to know how to solve basic questions and how to find solutions online, and then you can progress to like work on your own project. In the future, I do hope like this will be like a series of workshops that I give in here or somewhere else that it progress from like, this is text, for example, this workshop focus on like text pre-processing and like analyzing working on word cloud. And then I would hopefully progress next level to like, oh, how to do like clustering the topics and how to do for example, web scraping. I think like people are interested in this, but this has to be processed for the 3 hours workshop. Like we can't jump from like zero background to like web scraping. So, okay. So also when you have, and once you learn the basics, when you work on your own project, it would be really helpful if you can find some similar code online. If you want to solve a problem and if it's too much for you, for example, web scraping, that you want to solve it, you want to do like scrape a website, you can always find some code online that also scrape something from the website. And if you manage to adapt the code, like even parts of it, that would be really nice as well. But also reading the code from someone else would take time. So another thing is when you're working on a project, if you have questions, you can always go to like a question answering forum, like stackoverflow.com. How many of you know this website? You do. Okay, so let's check this website together. This is Stack Overflow. There were like many questions in here. Yes, so you can search, for example, you're coding, so say you're using pandas. Pandas, I will introduce this library later. So this library is very friendly for processing tabular data. So say I want to remove, oh, sorry, written in Chinese. I want to remove a column in pandas, right? You search it. Remove a list of string from columns in pandas. Did it roll from? Okay, so there are like many questions and you can browse it. And then you see like this question, there were like many votes and there were answers. Usually the answers with like highest upvote is likely the one that you're looking for. And if you don't find the question that you want here, you can also ask a question. There are some rules that you need to follow when you post questions in this platform. So you should just read these rules before you post anything. Otherwise, they will like probably delete your question. But sometimes there will be like a monitor who is nice enough to change a little bit of your text so that your post can remain. So at the beginning, this is how I learned when I wasn't in the computer science department and I was like self-taught. And this is the place I often go just ask questions. So, oh, by the way, this forum, there's also stats overflow, I think. Stats exchange, yes. So if you have questions about statistics, and you can try this cross-validated, this platform, which is like where you can ask a stats question. There's another one. I think it's called Math Exchange, something like that. Mathematics exchange. So this one you can ask like, it's more of like for algorithm or like you're doing projects that you need to use a lot of math equation, like theories. This is more theoretical for people work in mathematics. So like, it's just a brief introduction of where you can find information online to help you solving problems. Another way that you will be able to find answers for your problem is to go for the website of the library. So for example, pandas would be like something you often use if you process tabular data, right? So you go to this pandas website and you can just search, it's a lot of information. So if I just search colon, see what I find in colon. Categorical, okay, so this is like too general. Let's see, remove colon. I actually haven't used this search bar yet. Comparison with spreadsheet. So yeah, if you have a specific question, maybe like just Google it and that will lead you to like the correct session in this library. Yeah, but in general, like if you want to get like more detailed explanation of this library, you always go to this website. It takes time to read them. So this is how you try to work things out. And one last thing to help you to solve a problem is, wait, I need to, it seems like, okay, I'm trying to share the slides correctly. Would that help? Okay.
Yes, that's perfect.
Yes. Yes. Finally, as I said, like if you manage to find a friend who can work out the problem together with you, that would be perfect. Okay, so the goals and objective of this workshop today is to learn how to pre-process text. Pre-process text as in like before you want to use this piece of text to do, for example, word cloud or like clustering. In the future, you want to remove the noise in the text. That's a process we call it pre-processing the text. And then we'll learn how to generate the word cloud, and then we'll view the data statistics of the piece of text with the pandas library. So I assume like, does any one of you have a little bit of experience in programming before this tutorial? A little bit. Okay. So it's fine. So like I aim to start with like people without any programming background and can understand this lesson. So have you installed Jupyter Notebook? Okay, perfect. Have you installed Anacondas? Okay, perfect. Do you know what does Anacondas do? Anyone have any idea?
is a very popular data science platform, and it's designed to manage the environment or like manage the package for Julia, Python, and R.
Yes, correct. Thank you for the answer. That's basically Anacondas is like a package management platform. So with the major benefit of having Anacondas is that you can manage the dependencies of all these libraries separately. You can separate the dependencies. So when you start with a project, you will install tons of libraries. Some of these libraries will be conflicted. And also you will install Python of different versions. Sometimes you want to use an older version of Python because some library you want to use doesn't support the new version. And then if you have two versions of Python in the system, that could be problematic sometimes. And if you have libraries that are conflicted with each other in the same system, and that will be problematic. That's why every time you start a new project, you want to use Conda, create a new environment just for this project, and install the libraries that you need to use just for this project. And if anything is conflicted, you want to reinstall everything again, you can just simply remove this environment. And then you don't need to reinstall the system, because that's like, I started to learn computer since I was like 11, 12-year-old. And back then there's no such a thing. If library was conflicted, I always need to reinstall system, and it's like really problematic. Okay, so the packages required today is NLTK, which is a famous library for natural language processing, and pandas, as I said, and a library called emoji, which is to convert emoji to text. That's how you analyze emoji. Because when we analyze, especially social media data, there's a lot of emoji. So you don't want to just exclude them. And they're super useful sometimes. And there's another library called matplotlib that we need, which is for making plots. And the word cloud library and Jieba. Jieba is a Chinese word segmentation library. So I will mention like in more detail in a later session because like Chinese language, we don't have space to separate each word. So in order to find this boundary, you need to use some software to separate it. There were other languages like this as well. For example, Japanese, and there's also Japanese segmentation library for that. Okay, so this is Anaconda is just an environment manager. So what you can do with the environment manager? So like every time you start a new project, you should use Conda to create your environment. Then you can install, uninstall, and update any packages. So if you are conservative about your space, sometimes Anaconda could be large for your system if you think that's too large for you, and then you can use also Miniconda. Miniconda includes only Conda and Python. Okay, so Jupyter Notebook. Jupyter Notebook, it's mainly for demonstration, like for like a tutorial like this. It's really friendly to demonstrate to students. But in actual, well, once we get to like actual coding, you have project, we usually don't use Jupyter Notebook that much. We usually just write it in an editor and just run the Python shell. But it's really friendly for people who just started to learn how to code. Okay, let's get it started. Now I will go to the student version of these. I actually have another version with all the answers for the questions today. I will upload all the answers to my GitHub after this tutorial so that you can check how to do that. But the version you get from my GitHub for now is for students. So So first of all, we will learn some common data structures in Python. So in this module, you will learn like data structure in Python, such as what is a list, what is an array, what is a tuple, dictionary, and their properties. And then we will learn how to assess the elements of this data structure. For example, how can you assess each element in a list? How can you remove them? And how can you add items to a list? Can you add items to tuple, for example? Can you add items to dictionaries, for example? So that's what we're going to learn. And in the future, when you start to like process some data, you will need to think about, do you want to have this data as like a list? What kind of data structure do you want this data to be? And that would be most convenient for you to process the data. So that's very important. So there were like several tasks, 7 small tasks that will guide you through this study. And please spend some time to like work on this class, work on this tasks in the lesson. Okay, so
Should
the
we
first,
be able to find this on GitHub already?
yeah, they're all in. Oh, have you downloaded on GitHub?
Like are these things linked?
There's no link for.
Oh, they're not linked. So you can just go
Oh,
to,
okay.
yes. So for example, you go to my GitHub and these data science workshop one. Okay, so maybe I should show you my GitHub. Have you downloaded it yet? If not, I can give you 2 minutes.
Oh, download the CSV files or?
You can just
Sure,
the
which-
zip
The zip file.
then you can find it
Yes,
and it will show.
So under script student workshop, I just want to.
yes.
Oh, okay.
You can just download all of them.
All the 4 modules.
Yes.
Okay.
And put them in one folder. And also the data, you should download the data as well.
Where's that?
Go back to data
Oh,
workshop.
data workshop 1.
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
data. Yes, put them in one folder. And then if you run Jupyter Notebook on your shell, for example, and then you will be able to see all these scripts.
Sorry. It opens, but how do you actually download it?
You use a code, crush code.
Okay.
Oh.
Actually show it on the screen.
Yeah, that would be great.
Yes, okay. Let's see. So for example, oops, go to file. What's the page we could go? Do I see a different view from you?
No, this is what we see too. That's why.
Are you able to download it?
Last
I'm not sure
page.
how.
You can turn back to.
Yeah,
last
to
page
do this
and get
work.
the code.
Ah,
But under
okay.
code, you just push
Ah,
download
okay.
zip, right? Yeah.
Oh, maybe we have the different.
Yeah,
size.
we probably have a different view. Because for here in here, I don't have
If you
the
just click on the root level folder. the
Can you
analyze
find the
description
green
data.
bar and that?
Can
So right now you are in the scripts underscore students. Go back to this folder.
Yeah,
and
use the
under
code.
Code,
The
green
the
button.
green bar.
Oh, yes.
So not intuitive.
Yes, that's so good. Okay, thank you, everyone. Yeah, because what we usually do is to use skip pool. But I don't want to complicate things today, so I'm not going to talk about anything how to use Git. So yeah, this is how you download it. Did everyone manage to run it on your computer? Just Okay, so for example, you already installed Jupyter Notebook, right? So you just like type Jupyter Notebook on the shell. And then you'll see there's a window pop up like this
Sorry, you typed Jupyter Notebook where?
in the terminal. Yes, in your terminal. If you're using MacBook, so open your terminal, just type Jupyter Notebook.
I think maybe they can open the encoder than use the Jupyter. It's much more easier to open that.
Yeah, actually you don't need Anaconda to open it unless you already created an environment and installed a Jupyter Notebook.
But so strange that if we download the film that you share with us, I cannot open the module.
Which one?
Is it called module? They are
Module.
Yeah, module. I cannot open on my MacBook.
How come?
I don't know why. Because it told me there is no application for us to open such documents.
IPython. Oh, have you installed? It's IPython.
But I can
Okay.
open it online.
I guess the problem is I have them as IPython and people haven't.
Can only works for the Windows. So
No, IPython is like it's like a
Oh, yeah.
it's a more interactive surface. So I think I can probably try to convert them to Python. Let me try to see.
就是软件后缀
Jupyter Notebook.
哦，我已经打开了。
They're also like
这个是可以。
不是这个是我这个 Android 的打开的嘛？这个是导入一个，我知道。I open it. This is another terminal password for it.
Are you able to use Jupyter Notebook?
Yeah, I can use it.
Yeah.
Yes.
Then go to your folder. The folders are where you download them.
Let me see.
Yes, and then you just click the script.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that should be. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Oh,
Okay. Yeah. Did everyone manage to open the script in your computer?
I don't have WinZip anymore. This is like, so I can't, I'll fix it.
Okay.
So I can't download the packages.
Oh, or you can ask people.
Already downloaded it?
Live, right? This one's live.
Yeah. I mean, is there a way around it? I don't think so.
I can airdrop you or ask someone else to airdrop you the unzipped file. Because she
That would be
doesn't.
nice.
I will email you because during the
That also
I will email.
Thank you.
Okay, so I'll give like 2 more minutes. If you haven't able to run it and raise your hand, I
And I'm just pointing is going to email them. Thank you so much. Wendy.
Yeah, that would be, that would be great.
You can just type the CMD here.
CMD?
Yeah, so for the beginner, I just suggest the other
Thank you.
Jupyter Notebook Anaconda.
Yeah.
Not the
Ah.
terminal.
Oh, okay, that's also better.
And also I just convert it to the lab.
What is?
I never used Jupyter Lab. I'll try to.
So it's in Anaconda?
Yes.
Okay. Is this one? This one?
So they just use the lab.
Okay.
The course.
Oh, I see. Okay, so yeah, I would definitely consider Jupyter Lab next time.
I think,
Are you able to?
no, because I don't actually know what to do.
Okay, so you install Jupyter Notebook.
Okay.
Yes, they are.
Oh my. Zip file.
I think
think anyone by this thing.
Go back. Oh, it's here. I think it's here. It's here. Okay. So go to the folder where you browse on the screen. Okay. Okay. So I guess. Okay, so some students have suggested that I should use Jupyter Lab next time, which I haven't tried it before, but I will take a look, and if it will make the learning process easier, and I'll definitely try it out. Okay, so the first task we want to learn is a list. So this is a list. For example, you can have numbers, you can have like string. These words are what we call strings, or you can have numbers and string together in a list. So list, you can store elements of different data types. So now you see number is type of data type, and word, which is string, is another type. You can store them all together, and the list items are ordered. So this is the zero. Like in computer science, it starts to count with zero. So this is zero. This is first item, third item. So question is, when I want to access an item in a list, how would you do that? Can you guess? So I wanted like the third item on this list. So what you need to do is just to call, like, for example, my list. So you can print, this is how you print the items in the list, right? So you just like call my list. So I want the third item, which is like number 2. Oh, sorry. And then you'll know, then you'll see this is the third item. Ooh. It's ordered, it's mutable. Mutable means you can add or remove items. The items don't need to be unique. Like you can have like numbers that are the same here, and it will be fine. But in some data structures, the item has to be unique. It's just list, you don't have to. Okay, so you can, sometimes you also need to create an empty list so that you can put items in this empty list. So how to create an empty list? You just like, this is an empty bracket, and this is the empty list. And then you want to put items in this list. So for example, I want to, so put items on it, it's like a pen. So let's say I have pen number 1 on this list, and then I want to print it out. Oh, what does it look like? Okay, it has 1 item. All right. So now the first task, okay, this is not for student version. I will let you see the answer first. Is this person? Okay. This should be the one. Okay, yeah, this should be the one without the answers. Okay, so now you want to print, for example, each items in the list. So if you just print this entire list, so all the items like occur all together. But if you want to access each item in each round, so sometimes you want to do something on each item. So you want to have a logic like, for each item in this list, I want to do something. So for each item in this list, you need to use for loop. This is how you print out each item in the for loop. So for example, for item in my list, and then you'll see, oh, these 2 words. Okay, so also for the for loop, if you want to print a range in the for loop, say I want to have from the first item to the last item, this is how you print it from range 0 to, say, if I want number 5th, you actually have to do 4 because it starts to count from 0, right? This is how you do it. And if you want to say for each item in the loop, I want to plus 1. And then what would be like? I want to print what's the result of item plus 1. And then this is what it would be like. So for loop is very important because then you will loop through this structure, the data structure, and do something for each item. Okay, so now you can try to count 1 to 10 with the for loop. How would you do that? Try it in 1 minute. Any question? How would you do that? So now we have this example, counting from, for example, 0 to 4. This is count from 0 to, actually 0 to 3. So if you want to do one,
Why like for I in range from 0 to 4, but only print with 4 items from 0 to 3?
okay, so why would I only print I? Is that your question?
But I will be range from 0 to 4, but why it cannot print as I equal to 4?
Oh, yes. So this would be the question that I want to tell you.
Oh.
So while counting things in programming, it always starts from 0. So if you want to count 1 to 4, you should have from 1 to 5. This is how you do it.
So I always have to end with I. Oh, and I will.
Yes, the last number
plus with 1.
plus 1.
Okay.
Yes. So if you want to count 1 to 10, what will this number?
11.
Yes, exactly. Because it's start to count with 0 if you, as before. Okay.
Sorry, does the second line have to be tabbed? Next line isn't working. Does it have to be tabbed? Does the print have to be?
No, it doesn't have. Oh, you mean, oh, does it have to be tabbed? Yes, you have to.
Okay, so it has
Like
to be
one
tabbed,
tab.
what, how many? 2 tabs?
1.
It's not really working.
Yeah, it should be like this. Because for expressions inside a for loop, you have to have 1 tab.
Thank you.
Okay, so everyone solved this question, right? Okay, so how to assess items in the list? As I just mentioned, the list is ordered. So if you want to assess the item, you just call the item number, like the index of the list. We call it index, and it starts from 0. So for example, we have this string list is hello word, and then 0, which is the first item, is hello. This is how you slide a list. We also call sliding a list, or slicing a list.
Oh, excuse me. Like for the 15 lines, if we want to get the items from strings, I just find there's no print words. There's no words on print there. So we don't have to use print.
So print is like, if you want to see it in the shell, you don't need to all the time, because you can see it like this. Most of the time you can just like slide the item and you will see it. In terms of like why we have to use print. Okay, so if you're doing a lot of things in the for loop and you want to check each step, what does it do? Then you need to print the item out, right? So if you're just like running one expression, and then you don't need to, because it will show you what is this expression.
If I may also add, so this is a Python notebook, not actual Python script. If it's a Python script, you will need the print word in
Yes,
front of it.
exactly.
In order to print to the terminal. But this is the Python notebook. It's a working environment. So if you just specify this without the word print, it will just show you the result right after the line.
yes.
So I
She
just
has
get the
a video.
result immediately.
Yeah,
Check it
immediately,
out.
because
Okay, thank you.
it's a practice environment.
Thank you for the explanation. For me, it's like, oh, it's a practice I always wanted to do, but I don't really know how to explain it. But this is how we learn all together. And I'm learning a lot from you guys as well. Okay, so this is how you remove an item from the list. You just like call the index number that you want to remove, and then you can remove it. Okay, so next task is you want to find out what they do and write an example for this. Like, what does insert do? Like try, list, insert like an item, and also count. What does list count do? What does sort do? And append. Append, I just showed it to you, is to insert and add an item to the list. But append is like add to the last. Add it as the last item on the list. Insert.
Another question for the last slide, for last line,
Yes.
to remove what item from list. I just find in the first line, you mean remove two, you mean that remove the item equal to 2 or mean the position?
It's an index. Yes.
Okay.
You can also check. So for example, if I want to remove a specific item, how to do it, right? So we can check it together, for example. Now this is like how to remove item from list in Python. So how about I want to remove a specific item?
Range, okay.
Not exactly, range is just. Now, if you want to remove a specific item, for example, here, you can just like call the item. Yes.
You need quotes around it.
So for example, this one is particular string, so you can just like call this string. So that's why you need a quotes around. If it's a string, you need a quote. Yeah.
So if I for task 4, like I put my string list dot insert and then parentheses quote like plant quote.
You can try it out. Yeah, it doesn't work.
No.
Okay, let me try.
How would you like add something to my string list, a word?
My string list. Okay. The insert.
Yeah, that's what happened to me.
Because I haven't typed insert.
My noun list.
Okay, insert expected to argument. I got 1. Okay, let's try. Okay, now let's bring. Okay, so now this is how it works. Now, this is how we often debug. So how to debug this, for example, because I also haven't used insert before. So we'll see that if I just type this item in here, I got a type error, and you need to read this error. So insert expect 2 arguments. So this is called an argument. We have 1 in here. So you guess what is the other one that is missing? It's probably the index number is missing, right? Like,
Oh, insert it where?
yeah. So where are you going to insert it? Because like append, you always append the item to the last item of the list. But insert is like you can insert it anywhere, right? So, and then now it works. If you can't guess it, you always Google it. That's how I learn. Okay. So now you see there were many high because I've done it many times. That's why there were many. And every time you run it, and then it just insert it to your list.
Oh, well, but if we want to remove the second pile, what should we
Okay, let's try remove the second one. Oh, it takes exactly one argument, two given. Okay.
Maybe we can
So-
try. Alright.
So
But when I,
Oh, one by one?
when I print mine, it comes up twice.
what do you mean? Oh, yeah, every time you
Oh,
print it, it will add one to your list. So that's why. What do you mean you mean,
Oh, because I ran it twice, it
yes,
comes up
exactly,
twice.
yes.
So if I just wanna, okay, if I just wanna see what it is now, then I have to delete the first line.
What do you mean? Oh, so you want to
Okay.
like go back to the previous,
No,
okay,
no,
so
So let's say
usually,
now I wanna remove it, I'm gonna try to.
yeah, you can remove it, or usually we save like original list so that you don't mess it up. Like that's when you process data, you always make a copy and so that you don't mess it up by running it multiple times and doing all things. Okay, so let's see if I want to remove item with a specific index, how am I going to do that? So I'm just like going to Google it.
Maybe you can try to pop.
Oh, pop.
Yeah,
Exactly.
pop method.
Let's see. So what does pop?
Pop and then index.
Okay, let's give an index,
Leave the-
one argument.
Yeah, so to be the high, just the index.
Oh, just the index. Okay, let's see. Yes, so pop is the answer. It turns out pop is the answer. You can also experiment
Pop
like
is the answer to what? It just it
to
tells you what's in
remove
the.
an item in the list according to the index number.
I see, okay.
Yes. Okay, got it.
What does sort do?
Sort is to sort the list. If it's a number list, we can do that. Okay, for example, this is on my number list. I want to change the sequence. So now I want to see what would happen if I do that. Oh, wait. Actually, this is not starting. Okay, does anyone have any idea how you sort? Sort. Okay, so you need to tell you whether you want to do reverse or not. Still not starting. How about I try this one? Let's see. So what does this do? If I run sort. So it sorts according to, yeah, the first letter. But how come my list didn't work?
Oh, you just have to remove the brackets. Oh no, not true. Okay.
Exactly. Let's see. Okay. Let's try sort. And just like try to
So
think.
values on index.
Let's calculate.
Capital, true, or yes. Okay, so this is what it does. So yeah, it's just like to sort, for example, if it's a string list, it sorts the first letter. It sorts the list according to the first letter of the item. And if you can also tell it to sort it reversely, so reverse true, and then you just bring the list. So what I did wrong before was like, I tried to like put this list, assign this list to another item and print this item, which doesn't work because you have to print the original list. You can't assign an item to like sort. Yeah, so it has to be like this.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so next we'll go to like how to concatenate a string. So concatenate a string is just like add them together. Now, why do we need to learn this? Because in the future, say if you want to do a word cloud, right? You have many pieces of text. You want to combine all these texts together, and so that the word cloud algorithm can just run through this piece of text and give you the important information, the rank of each word, like how many times this word occurred in the database. So when you want to like put all these texts together, you want to use concatenate string. This is just like one way you can do it. So the way to concatenate is very easy. You just like add them together using the plus sign. And if you want to add a space in between, you have a space, like a quote with a space in between. Okay, so now we're going to work on a tiny task. Actually, did I just work it out? Oh yeah, I actually did. I didn't delete the answer for you, right? So it's already here. Say you have a number list. You want to add year to this number for each item. So how are you going to do that, right? So what you do is it's already there. So for each item in this year list, you want to append, say, the word year for it to the end of the string. This is how you do it. And then so you need to create an empty list, and then you append this item to this empty list. And in this way, you'll get a new list with all the items in the correct way, the way that you want it. Okay, so maybe try another small task because I forget to delete this one. So do something kind of similar. Say I want to have like a cat list. I want to have the tabby. I want to have white, other color. And then I want you to append a word, or maybe like smile. Okay, just try it out yourself. In 1 minute, it should be easy because we already have the example over there. Okay, so have you finished? Okay. Wow, it's already 10. Did we start at 8? 9? Okay, that's 1 hour. I hope we can finish the 4 modules. But if not, you can always like go home, just try to practice yourself and check my answers.
Is it because the cat is the string, so
Yeah, I think we inserted it
yeah, so
incorrectly.
it works string, yeah, string.
Oh, yeah, I forget to. Yes. Yeah, so you don't need to copy. So yeah, actually this is like a slightly different problem than the one I demonstrated. So this list is a number list. So you can't concatenate a number with a string. They have like, it has to be like strings to be concatenated together.
But it
So what
worked
I
for
did-
mine. Mine worked.
Oh, does that work? If I don't change string, does it work?
For me, it
Yeah.
doesn't.
Is that related to the version of Python, which I don't know? So usually you have to change it to a string as well. That's how you concatenate it. But if I already give you a string, you don't need to do that.
Oh, this is wrong.
I have another problem. It's adding new words with smile, but not adding smile to like cats' names.
What do you mean?
Oh, yeah. It's like printing it and then you.
It's not working.
Yes.
Oh, it's by hearts.
Does that work for everyone?
It took a while.
Yay!
So I didn't have an underscore. I don't have the underscore before smile.
Okay. Yeah, so this.
What did you want to say?
Oh no, I just find it can there's it can only work unless there's no tab.
No, that, yeah. Oh,
Does it
full
say
value.
inside?
Oh, for the full value. Oh, I didn't know. Yeah. Also, I use a tab at that, in that line.
What
then
I
it
did
works.
is print and put it in a
Oh,
separate
Print inside, if
box.
it's inside a folder, it prints it, each item, but
Like
if
if
it's
you run
outside,
that
it prints.
first.
Okay, that's.
My cats are open by me smiling.
My cats are smiling.
I don't have any cat.
Okay.
What's happening here?
Right, so. Oh, yeah, okay.
So we did what looks like the same thing, but mine worked and yours isn't working. Why is that?
Oh, you don't need the string because this already is not working. Okay, remove the string.
It's running.
Stuck.
Oh, you need to generate new.
Oh, new cat. Okay.
Okay, once, come back to.
Yeah, you need to have a list, empty list. You need to create a.
Yeah.
You can. Yes, and then you need to append an item to the new list.
Why can't I do this?
Now they should be fine.
No, actually it doesn't.
For I in
Yeah, you understand?
Yes.
So why did,
Yeah.
Yeah, first. we
like
have
you
a
said,
number.
string is only for when
Yeah,
you're,
yeah,
okay, when you're connecting the
Have you read this?
words to numbers. No.
Yes, so for concatenation, you
Yeah.
can only concatenate string with a string.
Yeah.
But if this is a number, you can convert it to a string.
Yeah.
But did you convert it here? Why did it work?
Is it custom sort?
But I put the same thing.
Oh,
You
I
don't
don't need that.
You don't need that.
So I can
Yes,
just
it is.
delete
Yes.
this I plus smile,
Yeah, you don't need the parentheses.
don't need,
This
Oh,
I, right?
oh,
Oh, that's actually my.
Okay, so I should explain this in here. All right, so now I get some interesting question from everyone. So remember, when you do concatenation, you can only concatenate the string with the string. Okay, they have to be the same time. If it's a number, you convert the number to a string. This is how you do it. So actually, I never tried this. So if I print year list. Okay, so the first item is this item. I can print the type. Actually, how can I print the type? No attribute type. Okay, so this is how you print the type. It's called an integer. So if I want to convert it to a string, so now you see this quotation mark. This quotation mark indicates this is a string. Now, if you see, you want to confirm, is this a string? Like you can just like wrap it with type, then it will tell you this is a string. Now, then that's how you concatenate a string with a string. So when you do this cats task, you don't need to convert it because it's already a string. All right. So and also for like indentation of this for loop. So if you have print within the for loop, so for each round, for each iteration, and then you will print out the list. So this is what I like. For the first iteration, it looks like this. Second one, it can. But if you have the print outside of this for loop, it prints the entire list. We start just like this. Okay. Okay. All right. Okay, so I guess most of the students should learn this task already, right? Okay, let's move on to the next one. Array. Array is very similar to list. But you can only store the same data type, that you can't have string and numbers at the same time. But the NumPy array actually support different data types. You can just like at this stage, you can just like see them as pretty much replaceable. Okay, so add one to each item. That already show you, this task is just like, say you have a list, like an integer list. You want to add one to each item, you can just add it directly. You don't need to do concatenation. They're not strings, they're numbers. So this is how you do it. For tuple. So tuple is like a different data type structure. These objects are immutable. Like you cannot append things, you cannot insert things. It can hold elements of arbitrary data types. You can have integer, you can have numbers, and this is how you cite a tuple. This is just to demonstrate you can't delete an item for a tuple because it's immutable. Okay, so dictionary. Now, dictionary is a very important data type for natural language processing. So one thing, when we are doing NLP, we can also use pandas. Pandas, like it's in tabular data form, like each cell you have a piece of text. But when you process like the text in each cell, you need to run a lambda function, which is not very intuitive for beginners. So that's why it's not like very convenient as well. So dictionary would be the easiest data like structure type for processing text data. At least that's my experience. Some people probably do prefer to use the tabular form. Okay, so this is how you form a dictionary. So dictionary items are ordered, which means that you can call them by a number, and changeable and does not allow duplicates. So you can see the dictionary as drawers. Like each drawer, there were some items in it, and but for each drawer, you can only have one item. But you can also have nested dictionary. Like for each drawer, you can have a tiny drawer in between, you can draw something, and there's a tiny drawer inside. So it can be nested. So the items are presented in pairs. So each drawer, there is some item. So the drawer is a key. The content is a value. So they're in pairs. And they can be referred by using the key name. So if you want to access the value, you can call the key name and it gives you the value. Now, this is the structure of a dictionary. I want you to practice to type a dictionary for yourself, because I found it like when I just started to learn programming, I often miss tiny things like, for example, what do you call it? A column, a comma. I often miss this kind of thing and it didn't work. So what it helps is I actually type it carefully, and then I print it out. And this is how I learned not missing this small part. Okay, so this is the structure of a dictionary. Now I give you like half a minute to form a structure by yourself, to create a dictionary by yourself. Like it can be car dictionary, it can be name dictionary, anything.
Yeah, it's not clean.
Okay, so I'll just like do it here again as well. Now, remember you have this brackets as the content to wrap all the content of the dictionary. You can have a key, like name dictionary, for example, like Doreen is like, okay, you're from, for example, like that. And we can have like student to Lucia, like I'm from, for example, I'm from China. Okay, so this is a dictionary. Yeah, just remember all the detail that you shouldn't miss the quotation mark, because this is a string. You can also change it to, you can also have numbers as keys. It doesn't have to be string all the time. But the numbers cannot be like the same. You can also have it like this, right? And then you can, so how are you going to print the keys? You can just like call the dictionary, and then you call the keys. Now you have it. Like keys is like the number. How about I try items? What does it come out? Oh, item doesn't work. Items. Okay, so now you see item is like the key and value in pair. It gives you the key and value in pair. So can I do values? Okay, so if I print values, I got all the values. So now a question for you. If I want to print out the items one by one, how would you do it? Use the for loop, right? If I want to print out the items, because I just show you like, if you call items in here, it gives you a list of items. This is a list. If you see this bracket, is a list. So say if I want to print out each item in this list, and then it should be like this, right? Okay, so if I want to print out the keys and in each list, key and value. So usually that's how we print it. Each item, there's like a key and a value. We can print the key and value together, or we can just print the key. This is how you print the key, or this is how you print the value. Okay, so why don't you print it? It's just to show you, but what you need to do is that you actually want to do something with each key or each value, usually the value. You don't want to do things in the key. Key is just like the index, right? So say I want to append a string to each item. And then how are you going to do it? So you can try concatenate. So if I concatenate, say year, so this would be the new item. So let's try what would be the new item look like. Oh, this is, oh yeah, it has to be here. Now this is how you concatenate. You do something for each item in the value of the dictionary. Okay.
What is KNP? Can you repeat that?
Key and value. So I can just
Oh,
you can use any words to represent them. It just tells you that for each item in the list there are like two components, right? You can call it key value and call it A or B. Okay, does that make sense to you?
if you try random letters instead of KNP,
It works,
also.
yeah.
Ah,
It just tells you there were like two components in there.
oh,
Because you can see, say like if we just print one, if we just like print item, you see that this is like tuple structure. So to assess an item in a tuple, you can right. And then there were two components in there, and you can just like use two items to represent it and call each one of them. Okay, so I guess that makes sense to you. Now I just show you how to append elements, how to concatenate item, like a string to each item. And how about you want to append some elements to a dictionary. How would you do that? So if you want to append an element, it's very easy. Like for example, you have the dictionary, you just add like a key value pair. So for example, like the original card dictionary is like this, and I add a key, which is a username, and the value is Lucia, and then now you print it, and this key and value pair would be added to the end of the dictionary. Okay, so nested dictionary, as I just said, like you can see it as a drawer, and there's a drawer within a drawer, there's like content inside this smaller drawer as well. So the structure just looks like this. So say the first drawer is indexed by number. So this is number. And then you have a nested dictionary. The bracket is a symbol for this dictionary. So you'll have a nested bracket in here. And then the next key for this nested dictionary is like the user ID. And then you can have like for each item, and then you also have the tweet. Now, maybe this is more clear. You can try to write a nested dictionary by yourself. So say for each index, you want to have more indexes inside. For example, here for each item, you will have user ID and tweets, and then you will have the value in here. Now, the question for you is, which item in here are the keys and which of them are values? Number one, is that a key or value? Yes, it's a key. How about user ID? Yes, it's a key. How about this one? Number? It's a value. It's a value of this key. How about tweet? Yes, it's a key. So just remember that like for each level, you don't have the repeated key. So this is like, for example, this item, user ID and tweet, they're not repeated. It can be the same for the next item that you also have user ID and tweet. Just to make sure that in each level, the keys are not repeated. Okay, I hope that's clear. And you can try to make a nested dictionary by yourself, because this will be what in the future, if you have tabular data, you want to convert it to a dictionary, this will be the data structure that it will look like.
So for this kind of dictionary, we will transfer to multi-index data frame, right? I mean, there are like two layers of keys.
Mm-hmm.
So the data frame will have two layers of index, right?
Data frame will have, if it's a data frame, it should have only one index. So
Okay.
yeah, so now I'm trying to say, for example, I want to convert this dictionary to a data frame, and what would it look like? So it should be like, for example, user ID would be like a colon, and then I would have 2, 3, 4. Okay, this is like one column, and then you have tweet. Tweet 1, and then you'll have tweet 2. These are the values. And then you will have like a column without name, or call it as index. Index, this is like index 1. This is index 2. Now, if you think about it, if it's a data frame structure, it should look like this. Yes. So now, if you use pandas, you can use pandas convert data frame to dictionary, and then it will convert a data frame like this to a dictionary like this. Sometimes it might mess up a little bit. So yeah, depends on how complicated your data look like. And sometimes it might mess up a little bit, but it should look like this. So this is very important to know, that you can convert this to data structure like back and forth, because sometimes especially when you're doing natural language processing, it's way more convenient to do it in a dictionary, because you can just look through it for each value in this key. I want to do something. Now, if you want to do this in a pandas data frame, you have to call this lambda function, which it's not that intuitive. For example, for each item you want to add 1, you can do that, but then you need to wrap this with like the panda algorithm. So yes.
Excuse me, I have a question. You mentioned that the user ID is also a key.
Yes.
But when I use the code print tweet, the dot keys, I just find I can only print as 1 and 2. But if I use a print to the dot values, I can get the user ID as well.
Okay, so for item in, let's bring it together,
Yeah.
right? Items. Let's see, what are the items look like? Because I haven't run this, so. Okay, so each item looks like this. So let's say key value in, okay, I print key is here. I print value, they're all here, right?
Yeah.
So say this is value 1. So for key 1, value 1 in value.
Oh, okay. To get the double.
Yes, this is how you print the nested dictionary, right? And then you can print, okay, what is key 1 like? Too many values unpacked, expected 2. Hmm. Interesting.
Dot items.
Or let's try to bring. Slice it. Okay, so let's try to debug this together. Like, it seems like it's not allow me to print the second level. Would you be able to find out? Can you check internet how to do that? Oh, I know why. I think I know why. Yeah, so you have to like, because I just call V, which is like you're calling the dictionary, but you should call the items of the dictionary, right? So this is how you do it. And then if I want to go for another layer, so say P2, value 2 in on items. String object has no attribute items. Oh, so value 1 is string now. Let's see. Okay, so I don't want to bring this to value 1. So what is K1? User ID, yes. What is here?
So if we just print the
User ID entry.
two,
Hmm,
can I check my?
yes.
For loop on for each row, and then within each row find the key and print the.
It's yeah, this is also another way to do it. For key in dictionary. Oh, yes. Yeah, this is also another way to do it.
Something like that. There's a key and user value.
Yeah, the key and value for each item are
Yeah.
those kind of confusing.
But I feel like
Yes, let's try.
I feel like.
For key in valid role.
And the role is defined in the first line. So for role in so the first line loops through all the.
Oh, I
rows.
know. So you
Yeah.
just, okay. So in this way, you don't call the item, you just call the role.
Yeah. And for role in.
So say I just like print the entire role.
Let's just try first to the entire row.
Yes.
First find the index of the row and then go into each row.
Key in role.
In tweet it. Square bracket row. So this would print the key in each row. And then we print the content of each row using the row number and the key.
Okay, yes. So what if I go,
Yeah, first the row value and then the key value.
this is also one way to do it, I guess.
Yeah, it's first the row and then second the key. So put the row in front of the key.
See. Okay, yes, this is also one way to assess that. Thank you for the method, yeah. Yeah, now I learned something new today. I didn't know that I can print a dictionary like this as well, not using the keys and items and values. Yeah. Okay, so now this is how we assess the items in the dictionary. Now we'll go to the NLP part.
Sorry, I don't think we have to do it in that complicated way. We just for K1, V1 ingredient without items and just print V1, just what we act like that.
Yeah, so that was the previous method that I was using. Yeah, you can also like try, you can also like, yeah, dot keys, something like that. You print the keys and dot values, you print the values and then.
Still got items.
Oh yeah, items, and then you will have two things to go to.
Yeah, I just print one of it.
Yeah, so there are like multiple ways that you can look through the dictionary. Just like be flexible, adapt to your task. Okay, so now we'll go to like to do some like simple NLP. And so when we have a sentence, we want to extract each word of this sentence. We can't, computer can't process the whole sentence. So you have to split the sentence into words. So what you're going to do is you can split. You can have the sentence dot split and with the quotation mark of like what you want to like use as a separator. You can use like a space, you can use a bar or whatever, and then you split it. So this is how you split the words in each tweet. And yeah, so now you can just, because this is, I already give you the solution. I should let this part actually. Okay, so let's try to create a sentence by yourself. Like write something that you want to say, like this is a sentence, right? And then you also want to create a dictionary. It can be a nested dictionary or just a simple one with key value pairs like this car dictionary. So let's say I have a sentence dictionary, right? And dictionary looks like this. Sentence one. This is the key. Yes, this is a sentence. Oh. So sentence two. this is a sentence too, which is pretty boring. Okay, so you want to use, you want to split each sentence in here, the value, and then how are you going to do it? Just try it yourself.
Oh, it's.
That's all. Yeah.
Which one is on the right? Okay, yeah.
So is everyone okay with the dictionary?
Oh, excuse me, could you please rerun the code for 103? Because I find I got the different result of,
Is it different?
but why there are two lines with the same?
Oh, why there are two lines? Did I print it twice? No. It looks like I printed it twice, which I didn't. Interesting.
That's where you use the v rather than values to set them and print the value.
Oh, yes, I know. Thank you. Yes, thank you for,
Oh, okay. Makes sense.
yeah, thank you for the feedback.
Gives an error saying string indices must be integers.
Yeah, mine is the same.
String indices as integers. Let's check. It must be.
Without the last the last comment.
Let me try to replicate this error.
You should remove the last comment. Yeah.
Okay, now I have to separate it.
At the behind sentence two.
At the end of
Can you
the,
leave the comma behind sentence at the end of the line with sentence two? This is sentence two.
looks
Do you need a
also
comma
okay.
there? Okay.
I think so.
Okay,
What if I don't have a comma? It also works.
I think so.
Yeah, so yeah, the comma, yeah, I think this comma is optional.
Okay.
Does it work for you? Is that still the same error?
Print fee split.
Did you?
Oh, okay. So why does the split go there? And why is it not the same as the
Same level?
at 93? So the solution for line 93, is it line 93?
Oh, it's the same. It's a value tweet. Oh, value tweet is like because it's a nested dictionary in here. So you're calling the key of this value. Is that, yeah. So because see, this dictionary is nested. So that's why I will call the key of this value and then split it. But here I don't have a nested dictionary. This is just like a dictionary. So if I say, if I have sentence one, say,
Okay,
subsentence.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so if I have this subsentence, which I think you get the idea. Yeah, if it's a nested dictionary, you just need to call it. Okay, so we stop this, right?
Yeah.
Okay, let's go to the next module. We only have 1 hour. It takes more than I expected, but I hope like everyone actually learns each task. Okay, so now the goal of the second module is to learn how to clean the data. So for cleaning the data, you want to remove the punctuation of the text. That's if you want a word cloud, you don't want this comma to be in the middle because that's the most frequent thing would occur in your database. You also want to lower the text. If you don't lower it, the computer treats the capital letter and like the lowercase letter as like different characters. You don't want that. And you also want to remove the URLs. You want to tokenize your words. Tokenize as in like splitting them, right? For English, it's very easy. You just like split it like according to the space. But for Chinese, for Japanese, you need a segmenter. It's like a tokenizer to do it. And you also want to remove the stop words. So what are stop words? Those are words that occur very frequently in the sentence, but it's often like it occurs too often, but it won't give you much contextual information. So for example, the pronouns that it's considered as stop words in the NLTK library. So you want to see what are the stop words in NLTK. So usually when you remove stop words, you use like NLTK. You can also customize the stop word list. Stop words list. So you'll see this is NLTK's list of stop words. Later on, we'll see how can we add more stop words in there, because maybe in your for your database, there is a common word that you don't need to use. You want to remove it from this database, so you can also add it to the stop word list. So this is a list. And you also want to replace the emoji with text so that you can process the emoji. So first, removing the punctuation. So, and then you will use a library called string. So in string, there is a punctuation list. So this is the list. And so for example, I have a sentence. How am I going to remove the punctuation in the sentence according to the string punctuation list? So the way you would do it is that you break the sentence to you split the sentence into letters, and then for each letter you want to match, is this letter in the string punctuation list? If it is, I will remove it. If it's not, I want to append this character to a new list, a punctuation free list, and then perform a new list of characters without the punctuation. This is how it works in my example. If you need some time to read it, do you understand? Okay. Or alternatively, you can write this piece of chunk of code in one line. and it's not that intuitive. It might look like it doesn't make much sense for me to write in this way. It's just like for convenience purpose, you can do it in this way. Okay, so now let's try it yourself. We already learned how to do something for each tweet, how to split the words in each tweet. So copy the code from the last module and try to remove the punctuation in here. Let's try. Okay, so let me know if you have problems of removing the punctuation in the tweets. Also, the last step. So after you append the character as a list, you want to join them together as a sentence. So this is how you join them. Okay, I'll try that out in here. Okay. Are you able to get this result? Let me know where is the problem.
Yeah, I'm not so sure. It could be like many.
Okay, let's try to solve it in here together. Okay, so we'll use the previous dictionary, right? And the easiest way, because I already have an example here, that these piece of code. Now, sometimes when you try to debug something, you will search Stack Overflow, someone will give you an answer like this, and then you try to adapt it to your code. So what you need to do is just change.
Can we do it using the other way?
Yeah, you mean like looping,
Yeah, yeah.
looping, yeah. So let's try this together. Okay, so for character, let's try for each character and value.
So you can have 2 for them right after each other.
Yes.
For loops.
Yes, you can have nested for loops. This is what you're going to do. So I'll print the character. Okay, so this is each character. So you want to match for each character. Are they in? If the character is not in the string punctuation. So here I can, because you'll see the character, like the exclamation mark, the period is here. And now I just bring now characters that are not in the punctuation list. Okay, so this is how you debug code as well. Now you print out each step. Okay, now you see the list again. It's so the punctuation mark is gone. So what you want to do is just you want to join this list of things together to become sentence again, right? And then you, as usual, you create an empty list. Now this would be like, you need to think about which layer should you put this empty list. It should be probably here, right? Is it here? Or is it the upper layer? Okay. So you want to have append the character here. So let's see, what does the punctuation free look like?
Mine is not even putting the characters.
Oh, it doesn't print the characters for which step? This step or
So,
first step, second
yeah,
step?
first step, for character and value tweet,
Tweet.
print character.
To specify either key or value in given cell character. Character is not.
Oh,
So she's using character. Yeah, but in the for loop, you have to define key and value as the variable rather than character.
yeah, but why is your character showing?
So here I've already assessed the value of tweet. So I shouldn't need to use define key and value, because
Okay,
there's
so
only
define a
one
new variable.
value in here. So if we go back to character in here, you'll see each character is printed out in the tweet.
Round? No, right. And then,
No, just.
Now let's see, oh, what does this look like? Okay, it looks like this.
character?
Wow. Okay,
Which define character earlier on?
so what if I have it here? Oh, more. Would, yes, it has to be this layer. Okay, so I append the punctuation free character to this list. And then I'll bring it out. And then they were like, for loops looks like this.
Oh.
And last step is I want to join them together. Okay, so now let's see if I join this, what does it look like? So this is like each step of how to join. If I just okay, now this is the right level. Okay. Yeah, so it's very interesting that you'll see, like, if I put the print in here, you see how each step works, right? If I print it in here, it's different. And you see how each step works, and you should bring it in here. So which means that you should return the function at this layer, at this level. Yeah, if this is a function, you can return it in this level, but this is not like a function. Okay. So did everyone get the idea of it? Does it work? Just to remember the last step, you have to join all this character back to that one sentence. Does anyone need help? I can give more time.
Yeah.
Do you need help?
No, just more time.
Okay, okay.
Hey, I get really nervous.
Don't worry, like take your time, take your time. I know like first time it's quite overwhelming because all this like tiny comma and you will miss some part of it and the code didn't work.
For some reason, I only have the second sentence.
Got the print on the wrong level.
Oh,
Yeah, the right
So
level.
print it.
So if you don't know which is right level at the beginning, I'll just try it out which level, which one looks right and it's right.
got it. And what would the return function do?
So say if I want to define a function, I say remove punctuation. And there's some argument. I need to indent it. And then I want to return say this is the function I define. And this is some argument that, for example, this would be the dictionary you're going to use. This is not a good example to put in this way, but I'll try.
Where did you, oh,
Yes. So then if I say, if I want to call this function, yeah, this is suppose how you.
why did mine print twice? Sorry, did you know that too?
Twice the same?
Yeah.
No,
No,
but at first I only had one sentence. But
okay, no, now I have both sentences, but they're stuck together. Yes.
no. Not that I think.
Okay, so this is not an example like to change it in this way, but basically the idea is like you write some function, you can wrap it. You can rewrite a piece of chunk of code, you can wrap it with the function and you return the value. And then when you call this function, you put an argument in it. So
What's return?
return is to return the object that you want the function to generate. Say like, for example, for this piece of code, the product, like the end product you want to return is to say it's a processed dictionary. And then you can return, for example, here. But okay, so this is just like a process sentence. Eventually, you want it to be the processed dictionary. So, okay, it's more complicated now. So for example, I want to have a new dictionary or and then I want to have for a new dictionary. And I want to have the key as key of the old dictionary. And I want to have the value as the no punctuation sentence, right? And then eventually I want this to return the new dictionary. It's here, should be this way. So why is this red? It's not red. Okay, now it returns the white. Do you understand? I don't want to complicate things, but since you asked this question, so what I'm doing here is I create a new dictionary. For each sentence that I process, I join them and they become a new process sentence. I append it to a new dictionary. So in this new dictionary, it also comes in with like key and value, right? So I assign the key as the key of the old dictionary. I assign the value as the process sentence to this dictionary. And now I want this product, like this, the product of this function to be the new dictionary. So I return this new dictionary. So when I call this function, this is the argument. The argument is like, I want to change dictionary. Maybe it's not a quick dictionary, it's my car dictionary. I can just change it to car, but they have to be the same structure as this new dictionary. If the structure is, it's not nested, this piece of code won't work. It has to be the same nested dictionary with one level nested. So this might be too complicated. And if it's too complicated for you for now, you can just like, yeah, go home and read it again to see whether you will understand. Otherwise, we'll move on to try more things.
Yeah. Thank you for explaining everything. We just asked a lot of questions.
Yeah, I know. I try to answer all the questions, but sometimes I get it more convoluted, which I don't want to. Okay, so let's try. Let's move on to lowering the text. As I said, like you don't want the computer to see the capital letter and the lowercase letter as the different characters. You want them to see it as the same character. So what you need to do, it's very simple. Like the sentence, you just dot lower and you can lower the whole sentence. Okay, task 2, you remove the punctuation in the twist. Oh, you already did it. Okay, remove the URLs. Now URLs, there's like something that it's very important to you. It's called regular expression. So what is a regular expression? Here I have some. I actually have a tutorial in here. Not my tutorial. It's here. Okay. So this is regular expressions. It's a string that represents regular language. It's basically, it's a pattern that matches strings or pieces of text. So for example, I want to remove a particular string in a piece of text, and the string occurred in the text repeatedly. So you want to use some patterns to represent this piece of string that I want to remove it from the database. And this is how you do it. For the regular expression, they are all the same in any language. It's the same in Python, it's the same in R, it's the same in shell script. Yes. So it's something very like, it's, if you learned how to represent the strings you want to remove with this pattern, it could be very easy to process your text. Okay, so you can go home and read this tutorials by yourself. Okay, so now what I wanted to do is, what I wanted to say in here is, when you remove the URLs, we know that there's a pattern in the URL. That is, it starts with HTTPS. It always starts with this, right? So what you want to do is you use a regular expression to match this HTTPS. Now, if you just like type matching HTTPS, like not using regular expression, you will only remove one URL from your database, but you want to remove all of them. That's why you need to use regular expression. Now, this is how you do it. You call this library called read, and then resub. You can see substitute. You want to substitute this pattern of string, which is the HTTPS/s plus. It means to substitute HTTP with, follows a string of non-white space characters with this empty, basically. And this is your sentence. And this is how you remove the URL. Now, sometimes a URL might be more complicated than this. And if it's just not clean enough for you, you might want to go back to that regular expression cheat sheet. Here's like a quick way, quick start, right? You might want to go through this to see how to like capture the pattern more accurately. Okay, so this is just the regular expression. Now, tokenization. As I mentioned, this session will introduce like how to use the library for tokenization, but probably it's not relevant to half of you, but I'll still like talk about it briefly. So the Java library is like a tokenizer for Chinese character. Now, if you use the Japanese one, I guess they will be like kind of similar. So there is a list in this Java library to how to for like all the Chinese words. So a list of Chinese words, maybe like many thousands of them. Now, how do they get this list? They probably use deep learning to learn the boundary of the text. Okay. So what the Java do is to match this list with your piece of text and try to figure out the boundary. But it's smarter than that. Sometimes it can tell you like for Chinese characters, sometimes it's meaningful to split it in, for example, it might be meaningful to split it in like this, like each character. It's also meaningful in a context, but sometimes in a specific context, it's only meaningful when two of them are together. So what does this Java do? Like how to figure out which boundary is correct? And right now it uses a quite elementary way to do it. It basically sees that if say this combination is more frequent, it's going to give the boundary like this. But if this separated combination is more frequent in the text, it will give you a boundary like this, like separate them. So it's not a very smart way to do it, but you can adjust it easily. So say, I know that in this piece of text, for example, this one is like what I'm saying. If you separate them in a different context, it means something. If you combine them, it means a different thing. So I want you in Java, you can customize this segmentation list by adding a word to the list, and you set the frequency. So say if you set this frequency to be very low, the cutter is not going to cut it in this way. If you set the frequency to be really, really high, and then the cutter is definitely going to cut it in this way. So what you need to do, if you want it to cut in like a different way, you set this frequency. And you can also customize like the words boundary by yourself. So yeah, you can definitely read this in their Java tutorial. This is some demonstration to you. Okay, so let's go to the stop words. Now, NLTK, as I mentioned, the natural language processing toolkit. I also need you to download the stop word list. So if you haven't run it, you can try to run NLTK, and then you run download, which will download it to the right folder. Okay, so then the stop words present in the library. Now you can print out it's a list. So the stop word is basically a list of like many of them, right? I show you there are like more than 40 of them. So let's say I slice this list. I just want to see the top 10 one, the top 10 list, the top 10 items on this list. You see these are the stop words. So can you guess if I want to add more items to this stop list, how are we going to do it? Exactly. Yeah, it's very easy. Just append an item to the list. Okay, so suppose I have a sentence. Okay, so now removing the stop words is also similar to remove as in removing punctuation. So you just match each character. Now here it's not character because punctuation is character lapping. When you process language, you want to know whether you want to process in character level or word level. If you want to process in word level, you want to split the sentence with the white space so that you separate each word. If you want to process this character level, you can just like 4 items in this sentence and it prints out each character. Now for stop words, obviously we want to process in word level. So we need to split it with this white space, and then we will match same thing for each item in this, for each word in this sentence is this word in the stop list. And then we return a list of words that are not in the stop words list. Okay, so do you want to try out this task by yourself? I already have the short version in here. If you like to try it out with the longer version, just type it full word in.
Just a question, what's the application of removing stop words? It's like if you want to measure the frequency of words, certain kinds of words, you don't want to include these not like very frequently occurring words.
Yes, exactly. That's the right answer. So say if I want to generate a word cloud from my database, the most frequent word is definitely I, probably I or you, and you don't want it because it's not meaningful, right? Of course, if you don't, sometimes we don't want to remove them for other tasks. Okay. Let's move on, and then we can finish a bigger task together with all of this stemming and emoji. Okay, stemming. Stemming is like you only want to reduce the word to its base form or the root form. In Chinese, there's not such a problem because we don't have conjugation. In like many other languages, you don't want the computer to treat programming and program as like different words. Sometimes, especially one of word cloud, you want it to be just like the root or the base form of the word. So you use the stammer. There are many different types of stammer. Like if you use other language processing kits, like for example, SCCEI. This is a famous one we often use as well. SCCCEI, right? And they have a different stammer. And there's like a snowball stammer as well. I think they have some slight differences, which I didn't pay attention to what are the differences in here. But if you're interested, you can read the instruction and see what are the differences. I've heard that the snowball one is better. Okay, so you just like predefine a stammer and do the same thing as in like the previous, like for each word, I want to match the root form of this word and concatenate joining them as like one sentence. Okay, so this is like stemming the words. Okay, emoji, same. This emoji library, it has a list of emoji, like it has a list of like maybe a dictionary pair as key is the emoji, the value as word, and then you try to match each of them and it returns you the word of the emoji. So same thing that you do it when on your text. Okay, so now we do a bigger task. This is how we have learned like a few steps that we need to pre-process the text. So what you're going to do now is to, this is not the student version. I should find the student version. Okay, here. So you write a function. As I told you how to write this function, right? You define the function. This is an argument in a function, which is something you want to replace. If this is a dictionary, you have like, you replace that dictionary. Okay, so you want to process, for example, this sentence, just this sentence. And what are the steps that you would like to do? Can you tell me? You want to pre-process this sentence?
Remove the punctuation marks.
Yes,
Put it
punctuation
in
mark,
lowercase,
lowercase, and
transcribe emojis.
yeah, transfer the emojis, and you probably want to stem the words. But do I have anything to stem in here? You want to remove the stop words. For example, hey is like a stop word. It might not in the stop word list. So you'll see if it's not, you probably want to append this word to the stop word list, right? Yeah, for this one, you probably don't need to stem it, but you can also add stem. It doesn't hurt. Yes. After you write this function, you can use this function to process the tweets as well. So I'll give you like 10 minutes to try to work it out.
You can. Oh, you also actually do.
Some reason I can't import emoji.
Yeah,
It's giving
that's
me
the same
error.
question.
Oh, okay. What is the error?
I think-
Module not found error.
I think you need to install the package.
Oh, did you install the
No.
package? Okay, so yeah, sorry. You install the
Can
emoji.
you show us how to do that?
So go back to your like the terminal. If you use the Anaconda environment, you need to activate that environment first. So,
Can you show us how to do that?
okay. So for example,
But you can just type pip install and then they'll.
you
Not
can,
in terminal, but in Anaconda.
if you install everything without using Anaconda, you can just like pip install something.
Oh,
Right, but if you are in the Anaconda environment, you have to. So for example,
But this is
activate,
terminal, right?
yes,
Can you
this,
show us in Anaconda?
this is how you activate Anaconda.
Oh,
Source activate, general. So this is just a name of the environment I created previously. This is how you activate the environment. So, but you need to create an environment first. So this depends on first question. Did you create an environment for this project? Sorry, that's like jumping too much. So, Anaconda, create environment. So as I said, Anaconda is a environment manager, right? So every time you start a new project, you want to create an environment just for this project so that everything you store is in this environment. If you want to remove everything in this environment, you just like delete it, then all the packages will be gone, right? So if you didn't do that this time, it's fine because the libraries I'm using in this lesson, they're not likely to be conflicted with other stuff. It's usually like the deep learning thing is really annoying that like versions are conflicting. So they're pretty basic, like pandas, numpy, this is like very basic stuff. So they don't usually conflict with each
I
other.
mean, what we did today, we didn't install any packages yet,
Oh, you haven't?
right?
Did you install any packages? Because
I didn't on my own, what we did together, we didn't, right?
no, we
So
didn't.
can we like start at the first
Oh,
step and
okay.
start an environment now?
Oh, okay.
Because yeah.
So for example, like how are we gonna start an environment? So we can use conda create name.
Sorry, going back a few more steps, I didn't open Jupyter Notebook in terminal. I opened it the other way. So can you take us?
It
through this?
doesn't matter. So it doesn't matter. You can just like go when you install, you can just like install it in the terminal.
Okay, but I don't have,
You don't have terminal?
yeah, I mean, my terminal looks like this. So I think if we can just go back a few steps.
This is the terminal. Yes, it's white.
Okay, so what's the two different windows? It says, do you want to terminate? Will it do
And
anything
you don't
bad?
want to, if you terminate it, Jupyter Notebook will be gone, so you
Okay,
just leave it there, it's fine.
okay, so
okay.
what's this
So
one?
yeah, so this is a new terminal, and you don't need the Jupyter, so you don't need it. You just like do it like this, it's fine. Okay, so this is a base. Base means like it's just a base environment, and you see that in here, it's you haven't created any environment yet. So you want to use Conda, create. Name, say data science. This is the name of the environment. Is the base prefix boarding? What's wrong? Oh. Let's try.
No such job.
Data science. Okay. This is, and you can also define the Python version. Say I want Python 3.9. So now it's creating, and you just click Y. And now it's creating all these tools in the environment. You can see that. Okay, so then I want to activate the environment I just created, right? So I just source activate. What was the name? Okay. Now you see the environment is activated. It's here. Okay.
So what kind of package is that?
There's no package in here. Oh, there's like there's Python 3.9 in here because I just preset it as I want to create a condas environment called data science with the Python 3.9 version. Now, this environment is pretty much empty with some I think condas probably include some basic stuff like NumPy, it's included. And then you have to install everything in here. Like say if I type pip in here, I don't think there's pip in here, is there? Let's try. Oh, there is. So I can use pip install. Say emoji. Oh, pip is okay, let's see what is pip.
Package installer?
Yes, pip is like a package installer. Well, Conda is also a package installer as well. Sometimes you can use Conda to install something. Conda install pip is kind of silly, but yeah. So for example, you can use Conda to install NLTK, but I do not recommend you to like keep switching. If you use pip to install, keep using pip to install. I think there like at some point people tell me that there will be like problems if you keep switching it. Okay, so I'll say pip install emoji. Now it's successfully installed. So when you run Jupyter Notebook in this environment, so this is a data science environment. It's a Jupyter Notebook here. Which I don't know. So I don't find Jupyter here, which means like because I didn't install Jupyter in here. I installed Jupyter in the base environment. So then you probably need to install Jupyter in here, this data science environment. So now in this lesson, we don't want to like do everything in here, right? So just go to the environment where you install the Jupyter Notebook. It could be the base one, it could be the one you created with Anaconda. So if you didn't do anything with Anaconda, that means you created in the base. So just do pip install emoji. Is that clear? Sorry, in my mind it's like
Just install it on the base, right?
Yeah.
Oh, in the Jupyter Notebook. Don't use terminal, okay.
So
Just install package in Jupyter Notebook.
oh yeah, that also works. Yeah, that's also works.
Yeah.
Oh, how to install package in Jupyter Notebook? Let me try.
This is what command.
Just pip install. Yeah, I think this also works.
You can,
Oh, sorry, emoji.
we try to
Okay, so this also works. Actually, I never tried installing directly on Jupyter Notebook, but it
What
works.
is the launch?
So yeah, in the future, you just like create an environment for your project and install everything there. That could be fine.
Wait for me to like save that environment? What do I do with the environment when I'm?
It's once you created it, everything is there unless you delete it.
So one environment per project.
Yeah, usually like that.
Okay.
Well, sometimes if you have like two projects that are very similar, they use similar packages, then you can just have the same environment.
How do I access that environment?
Okay, so how to access the environment is like, I just show you, maybe I should show you again. Oops. Okay, so this is the base. So you just source activate the environment name. So for example, the one, yeah. Okay, so there's also one way you probably want to see what are the environments in your computer because you forget the name, right? So how to view names? Conda. Let's try. Okay, so it's Conda info. This you should be able to see like the existing environment and where do they store.
I see.
Yes.
Okay, that's very helpful. Thank you.
Right. Okay, now let's go back to emoji. Okay, so let's write these two functions. Any troubles on doing the pre-processing function?
My emoji is still not strong.
Ooh,
It's
I'll have a
just-
look.
it's not- I mean, it's definitely installed.
Stop it.
Oh, actually, I had the same issue. It has something to do with your
You have to restart a kernel.
software.
You have to close it and restart it. So I think the problem of installing in Jupyter Notebook is like you have to restart the kernel.
Yeah, most of, some of the time, so you can restart the.
Just close it.
Yeah, just close it, yeah.
And this one too? Those are the all?
Just to run the one that you want to.
But for the emoji one, I had to update my Windows image software.
I see. Well, that's like related to Windows.
So you can try.
Yeah, you think
to-
this is something similar?
Usually not.
Thank you.
Mac is more stable.
Okay. It saved it.
Makes sense.
Does it work?
They stop it, try another one. They try for the
Here?
time contact.
Okay.
It's
Check out
Before,
the-
before.
oh, before.
Yeah. This means that we to do the terminal. We want to manage
I
the-
see.
Do you understand what the limiter means? For the emoji, like, yeah, like text, comment,
You can try
delimiter,
comment.
word.
Then install thing.
Yeah, I think the comma, like, doesn't mean starting. Do the D emoji.
I think restarting the kernel as in like closing the.
I feel like it should mean
That's
that a
when-
new sentence starts.
Close terminal.
with a comma or like a new
Yeah.
argument.
Yeah,
But
and then
I
you
won't.
Yeah.
restart.
What
it
is our
to
input even?
That,
So then.
you need to.
Doesn't it work with another delimiter?
Why I should get to use to build that because when you use to build that, you don't have to.
I don't know what it means in this
Okay.
case, but like, you know what it is with Excel, right?
Does it look like R range almost? Something like that?
I'm not actually, it is a new
If you
generation of
import some
notebook.
data that
Oh,
are
okay.
not
The
great
next
from Excel and you want to do
Okay.
it correctly in Excel.
Nice, yeah, I will
you
try
just say
that.
like, my delimiter is that.
Why is
I
it not
see,
open?
but
Is it 'cause-
identifying-
oh,
You
so
have to
just
type
connect
it
it
in
here?
This is the next.
I also suggest the beginner to
I
start
don't know, in this
everything
case,
from
I don't think
code
it matters.
because
So they basically just didn't define, because it's like.
Terminal is super
Yeah.
confusing.
you can just go to the.
It's a comma, right?
The Jupyter notebook.
It says that the delimiter is a comma. Why two I don't know. Oh, okay,
Feels
so
like
it's nothing and
two-
nothing.
Yeah.
Close.
Yeah, I don't know.
Close it. Try.
And then return to the
What does this mean?
Oh,
Lucia?
wow.
These delimiters?
I delivered the same.
Okay.
It's just like separate,
Okay.
separator, delimiter is like a separator. Yeah.
So,
Separate
oh,
is-
so it means that you want a space between the emojis.
Mhm.
Something like that.
Oh, I see. Ah, okay, got it.
So you can.
Okay, now let me try.
Okay.
Oh.
You can try to replace like, give a slash
Still
to
use
the
it?
Yeah.
delimiter and it should print the slash. Try it.
So essentially how you want to format your.
It should be like the first one is the empty space, the second one is what you need.
Okay.
Yeah, try it.
Okay.
Yeah,
Hey,
this is
Ann.
like the file browser.
So if I wanna-
Find the folders to see your.
Okay, shall we go to word cloud? We have a bit of time. We can keep going. Okay, so hopefully we can finish word cloud. Word cloud is like, once you, this is the answer for the previous the task. So just like lower the piece of text and you want to use the emoji to replace the emoji with text. And student just asked me what does this delimiter means. It means like a separator. So for example, you want to replace the empty space with empty space, that's fine. If you want to replace empty space with a slash, you see like the separator becomes the slash. Okay, so you remove the URLs and then you want to join, like you want to remove the punctuation and remove the stop words. Now, the benefit of using this one sentence argument, you can see like the code can be so simple. Like one function, it does everything and it's just like 6 lines, right? And stamp the text, and then we'll return the piece of text without any stop words. So for example, the tweet dictionary, we process it with this function, so argument. Is argument still confusing to you? Because like, for example, this argument is something you pass to the function. So you want to pass, for example, a piece of text to this function. This would be the argument, and then this is something you can replace. So here, for example, the tweet dictionary. So what I'm doing in here in this tweet dictionary is I want to process, so it's nested, right? You have a tweet as the value. So you want to process each tweet with this function. So you call the function in here. So for you, first you look through the dictionary. So this is what I do. For key values in the tweet items, we extract the value tweets. This is what I want to process, which are the sentences. I wrap it with the function I just created. Now this tweet is the argument I pass to this function, and it will go through all the steps and return the no stop word text. Okay, so this is a new tweet. And then I append the new tweet to the new tweet dictionary. And the key of the new tweet dictionary is the user ID. And what it returns is something like this. If you give you the user ID and the process tweet. Okay, so this is like, do you want to have some time to look at this? Try to do it yourself. Or just try to type it. And the next task,
Excuse me.
yes.
I just want I cannot run the top of the code of this page. Even like, oh yeah, the first group.
And oh yeah, did you install word cloud? So if you haven't, just do what I just tell you to install emoji. Same, right? You can install it in Jupyter Notebook. You can install it in your environment.
Take an extra cell and type pip install.
Yeah.
word
Yeah, I
cloud.
tried, but I just find the user.
It's so error.
Yeah, it's
Yeah. What is the error?
weird. But they
Really?
will, but it will ask me like, would you want to install or not, but. you can see
What is
if I
the error?
don't-
Yeah, like this. Really small.
No,
letters.
no, no.
Word error.
Requirement already
But-
satisfied.
But he is still asking me to.
Okay, so now we want to see, you need to restart a kernel to use the updated package. So the problem of installing things in Jupyter Notebook is like, it always tells you to restart a kernel, and how to restart a kernel. So you can do something, you can just close this kernel that's running Jupyter Notebook, which is this one, close it. Close it and then close
I
its
just-
browser
I
as well.
just went to install word cloud, said you have to install some other software, then I said, okay, then it says 8 hours, 29 minutes, it should be connected to the
Wow.
power source.
Really? What kind of software do they ask?
I don't know.
I got it too.
You did?
No,
But I reject it.
You rejected?
Okay.
5 minutes.
It seems like 5 minutes, so.
Now it's 5 minutes, it was
Yeah.
8 hours now.
Interesting. So yeah, if every time if there's like an error comes out, you can always just copy the error and search it, Google it, and see what are the solutions. So this one is very explicit, just ask you to restart kernel.
But even I use the pip installer in the terminal, it still does not work.
What is the error?
Not really sure, I just open it and use it. Yeah, use this code and.
Go to the bottom to see the error. Yes. You can always try to copy this and Google it.
Are we using any data?
Does it work?
Why is fire not huge? Dust fire. There was no space, but I just changed it.
Oh, yeah.
So mine should look different.
Usually it should not be a problem. I can try pick 3.
Let me see.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It asked me to. Let me check. Oh. So it seems like it's the same error as this one that you encounter. Yes, and let's see if there's some solution. How about this one?
Our your team will go.
How about this
You
one?
know, I restarted this over.
And seems like we have to install this will. Also change the Python version. So yeah, it seems like there's a solution in this community. Okay, we have 10 minutes left, and I would say I would leave you to figure out how to install Word Cloud. If Word Cloud doesn't work, there might be other packages. So if you're using Conda, you can also try to use Conda to install. Yeah. So try a different way to see which one it will work. Also, like for example, the solution I just found in that forum, you can also try it. Yeah. So I'll just like quickly go through the rest. So for Word Cloud,
How do we append? Oh,
yes. So after we process all the tweets, we need to append them to one piece. Now I'll leave you to think about how to like append them to one piece. Which command or which expression that
appends, maybe? No.
append would be like a list, right? So Word Cloud, if you look at this is the argument for this is the function for Word Cloud. So what you need to parse the argument is in here. So generate, and if you look at the Word Cloud library, and then this should be, sometimes this could be like a pandas column, or sometimes it could be just like a piece of text that you append them all together. So if it's a panda column, of course you can have it as a list. But if it's just like a piece of text, you can use concatenate all the text together, right? So let's see. Actually, my solution actually have it. But maybe I shouldn't show you a solution. I'll let you figure out. But I'll give you the hint that it might be like a list, or it might be like a piece of text. You just gotta try. Or you can just check the document for this library that it should tell you. Okay, so you import matplotlib, which is where you can use it to plot Word Cloud, and this is how you plot the figure. You call show, and then the axis. Do you show the axis? So Word Cloud, it looks quite clean for now. There's like no uppercase, no exclamation mark.
Okay. What does it mean?
Word Cloud. So the biggest word here is the most frequent word in the database, your database.
But in our database, it's all the same, right? Like much appeared once, and strange is also appeared once. In our.
Oh yeah, so because we only have 2 sentences in here, so this is not very accurate. Yeah, so you need to have like more.
The fire should be twice, right? No?
Yeah, but the fire, actually the space is inserted incorrectly, so the figure is also created. There's test fire.
Fire is 1, right? Test fire is, yeah. Oh, okay, so this is not created correctly.
Yeah.
Test fire and fire, so it's like once.
Yeah.
Test fire is word.
Yeah, but
You should separate it.
program you can insert a space if you
Yeah.
want.
Yeah, so it's like related to,
The issue
so when I
that
process this emoji,
No, but-
I did something wrong
it does.
that I connect the test with fire,
You can test
and
fire.
you should do them correctly, and then
The
fire
thing is,
should
I need
be
to generate this in order to create a figure, but I don't know how.
okay. So I would just like briefly go through this one. You can do this exercise at home.
Yeah, but then
Pandas.
it's OT is multiplied.
As I just mentioned, pandas is this library where you can process tabular data easily, because when you load this, this is how you read a data frame in pandas. You can just read the entire data frame, and it gives you all the column nicely, and then you can do things for each column. So lambda function. Now lambda function is a small function containing a single expression. When you use pandas, you often need to use this lambda function to do things for each cell. So this is how you do it. So for example, there is a column called retweet count in here. This is the column. So there's number for this column. So what if I want to add 3 to each cell? I want to change this number, so right? So what I can do is to call this lambda function, lambda x as in like the name of this file, which is the Avenger tweets file. And then you call the column name and you add 3. Axis is just x1 is like the column, x0 is 0. You want to operate on the column. So you use pandas, you use apply function and call lambdas, and then you can add it. Now, if you, yes?
Can we just add a 3 by the column, literally like this data? I don't know. Because I think the lambda function is too complicated.
Let's try. Actually, I haven't tried. Can we just add it?
Right? You can generate a new column by the old
I think
column
you
and
can. Yeah, I think you can. But lambda function allows you to do more.
Yeah, yeah, it's
Definitely.
powerful.
Let's try. I think we can also do that.
How do I tell Jupyter where my data are stored? Like Jupyter comes find the CSV file.
Oh, okay. I forget about that. So what you need to do is to download those data files and put it in the same space as in where you put the Jupyter Notebook script.
Oh, okay.
So here, yeah. So for example, I put them in the data workshop. Yeah, I have them here. Yeah, just put them in the same folder.
Okay.
Then you should be able to access it.
Thanks. Sorry.
Pandas. Oops, I have an error. Oh, it can't access it because I move it. See, once I move my file, I cannot access it. So what I need to do is to change the path. So what is my path? It's in data science workshop. Can I get the path here? Or I just copy this file.
I actually think now my found it. Now that I moved it.
So users. Oh, I have the data science workshop. Okay, so just to say that if you put it in a different folder, you just like adjust the path, point it to the data file.
Yeah.
Right. Okay, so let's see. Can we just add 3 to this column directly? which I think we can. Okay. 640. Yes. Yes, we can also like do this. It's like very simple, but when we need to do more complicated things, just not just at 3, you probably want to do some operation, more operation. Then you need to use the lambda. Actually, can I concatenate?
So if it don't work,
If I want to concatenate, it doesn't work. Well, yeah, because this is a number, I can't really concatenate it with like a string, but I can't operate string in here. Yeah, this wouldn't work. Oh, can I? But it looks weird.
yeah.
It's not exactly what I want. So, for example, here, if I want to concatenate here, right, I just need to change it to string. Now this works. Where is the new adjusted? Now this work. You see the adjusted tweet. So this is the thing, right? If you do very simple operation, you just want to add 3. Yeah, it works to just add 3 in the column, but once it's slightly more complicated, you just have to use this lambda function. Yeah, but so you can also use for the dictionary method to like do all these steps to pre-processing the text. You can definitely also use the lambda function to do that. It's just slightly more complicated. And also you can also like just extract this column for processing instead of like giving you the whole data frame every time you do something. Okay, so processing data in pre-process the data in the data frame, I'll leave you as homework that you practice to do it in a data frame format and further cleaning your text. Okay, so we just learned all those steps, but so you should also like, so we have this example, which is Avengers tweets. You can also like look at this text and see what specific steps you want to do to further clean the text. So for example, in here, we can see some noisy stuff like Avengers Endgame is a hashtag in this tweet. So if you want to do a word cloud, you probably don't want Avengers Endgame in this cloud because you already know that because you collect these tweets all for Avengers Endgame. So you probably don't want this in the middle of the picture. So that's like you want to further pre-process it to just remove this specific word. Okay, so next task, you want to generate a word cloud for the Avengers Endgame tweets. And
Oh, excuse me.
yes.
How to import the data? Because I even cannot
Oh, okay.
to get the data.
Okay, so did you download the data file yet?
Oh, yeah. Oh, I
Yes.
have to use it.
So download the data file to put it in the same folder or different folder. You just need to point it to that folder.
Oh,
Yeah. So maybe some small trick to know what is the path. Sometimes you don't know the path, right?
Yeah.
So you go to the terminal, right? You can do ls to check what are the folders in your terminal, right? So I know, oh, I have this data science workshop. You just direct to the data science workshop. And then you see all these things in here. So I want to know the path. You just pwd. And this is a path, right? This is the path. This is my path, not your path. So, and so when you point the path to where your file is, you can just like copy that part, and then furthermore, like data workshop 1. Yeah, this is how you find it. Okay, so I think this is time's up and we pretty much finish it. Yeah, so summary statistics is just like getting some mean, medium of the columns in the data frame. And you can also describe your data set, call the medium of a column of some columns. Yeah, and then you can group it. For this summary statistics, it's extremely similar to R. So yeah, so for statistician, they like to use R for processing. The apply function is like similar to this lambda, except that you don't need to call lambda, just apply. It's more intuitive. So yeah, this is the workshop today, and I hope you learned something.
If we still have some practicing to do.
So yeah, thank you everyone for coming, and I will upload answer for the solution for this tutorial to GitHub 2 days later, because I want to give you 2 days to finish the rest. Yes.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Stop sharing. And thank you.